So my friend's kids have this crazy cart thing. It's a little electric scooter kind of thing. It's got kind of 360 steering on the front. It's got one powered wheel. The motor's in here. The back end's got casters, so it's kind of doesn't really steer. And then you got this lever that changes the caster angle to make it so it's completely loose. It's supposed to be pretty fun. Problem is, right now it doesn't work, and they lost their charger. So I'll show you the bottom of it real quick just to kind of see what it is. So there's your motor, chain drive, front wheel. Back wheels are on casters. Don't know what's wrong with it right now, just know it doesn't work and that they've lost their charger. So we'll get it taken apart and see what we can find. So this is what I found when I got it taken apart. I got two 12-volt batteries. They're connected in series via a fuse. So this guy, current flows negative to positive through the fuse, up to this battery and to the supply. So this is the connector that's actually going to the motor controller. This guy's just in series as a safety. I'm gonna get my voltmeter out here so that I can take some measurements. So go ahead and take a measurement here. I'm going to see what the 24 volts reads. It should be up in the 20s. We'll see what it actually is. So it turns out it's like 19.0 volts. It's really low. These batteries are dead, possibly even failed. Gonna do a little more setup here so that I can charge them. I've only got a 12-volt charger for automotive batteries, lead acid batteries. So I need to rewire this to where they're in parallel instead of series so that I can plug it in to a standard charger. Hold on a sec. You can see I've taken the existing plugs and I've added some little spade connectors in here and some jumper wires coming off. So now this negative is crimped to this terminal as well as that negative, that positive, and that positive all go together. So now if I measured these, nominal voltage would be 12 volts. I could see between 11 and 14. I'm gonna go ahead and hook up the battery charger to this and let it run for a while, get things charged up, see if these batteries come back to life. Okay, let's get the charger unplugged and start taking some measurements and see how things did after the charge. Gonna pop our fuse back in. So now I should be able to measure something up, 24, 25 volts if I put the probe or my meter onto here. See what it actually comes out as. It turns out it's only like 22 volts, 22.3, which is way low. So that's discouraging. I do a little test where I actually plug this back in to the motor controller and press the pedal, and the motor turns just a tiny bit. So I know everything else is working, but I'm not getting enough charge into these batteries. So one of them's probably dead and I'm not getting any power coming out of them. I'm getting a little bit. So I actually, one more test I do, I'm gonna show you, I do a little spark test. Let me get that set up. So I should be able to arc across the terminals of this battery. So if I take a wire from here and I take a wire from here and I touch these two together, I should get a nice little spark. I don't for this battery. There's no spark. But however, whenever I test the other battery, so if I arc across this guy to this guy, I do get this nice little spark, meaning this one's still connected, but this guy's pretty much completely toast. So what I do now is I go find some batteries online and replace them. It's about 30 bucks for a set. I can drop a link in the description for the ones that I purchased for this, but relatively cheap to get this thing going again, hopefully. So I solved the problem with the batteries by just purchasing new ones, replacing bad ones. The second problem we had was that the charger got lost. So this would take a 24-volt charger that's set up to charge a lead acid battery without overcharging. Probably just not worth buying a new one of those. It's very common to have a 12-volt lead acid charger laying around your house for charging cars and stuff, and it so happens that my friend has one. So I want to get this set up to charge on a 12-volt system, very similar to what I did for my little bench test. But I want it to be automatic. I want to be able to turn the car on and have it run on 24 volts, and then whenever the car is not on, I want it to be able to connect up to a 12-volt parallel circuit and charge that way, so that we can use just a standard cheap charger. I need a connector that's gonna go to the motor controller that's 24 volts, and then I'm gonna still need my fuse holder. So I want my 30 amp fuse, and I want that to be in parallel. I want those permanently connected, no messing around with it, no unplugging things like I've been doing. I also want to have a charge terminal that connects to the 12-volt charger, and I want that all to happen automatically. So we're going to start working out how that's going to work. And we're also going to want to have a battery charge plug that can go to a standard automotive 12-volt charger. So we got to figure out how that's going to work. So we're going to accomplish this by using some double pole switches. So let me get a few of those drawn into the circuit here. So we got 3 switches here. For now, we're gonna draw the connections that we want for the 24-volt series circuit. In this configuration, as I've drawn it, we've got most negative coming through the battery, through a fuse, through the battery, and one more connection to the most positive. So this works exactly the way it did stock. No modifications. Now, we're gonna draw the 12-volt circuit. So for the 12-volt circuit, we're gonna toggle all these switches, and we're gonna connect up to the 12-volt system. Let's shift all the switches to the 12-volt position, and then we'll hook up the wires. So this time, we want both grounds going to this ground and both positives going to this ground. So we'll go ahead and just start connecting things. So when the switches are all down, we have positive to positive, negative to negative, negative to negative, and positive to positive. So that gets us the 12-volt system. Now, I've drawn all these and I've called them switches. What I really want is for this to be a little more automatic. So we're going to use a relay. So each one of these is going to be a automotive relay for a couple reasons. One, it's kind of difficult to find switches that'll handle 30 amps. 2, it makes it a little more automatic, and the relays are designed to handle that heavy current, and you just need a small switch to switch them. Go ahead and we'll draw the little box around each one of these switches representing the relay. And then each one of these is going to have a little coil. So the coil is a little electromagnet, and that pulls the switch closed. So the only thing left to figure out is how we're going to energize the coils. Turns out there was already a switch on the little go-kart that was designed to turn this thing on and off. Gonna use that same switch to trigger the relays. When the relays are off, it defaults to the parallel version, so that when you turn the little car off, there's no current draw through the coils, and this charge port is active, and then when you flip the switch on, the coil will pull all the switches up and set it up in 24-volt mode. All these relays are 12-volt coils, so we want to just come off of one battery. So now when I flip this switch on, all of these relays will click up. Drawn it off right now, and then on. Okay, that's a mess. But if you break it down into its little pieces, it's pretty simple. The only thing left to do now is to actually build this thing on the cart. So here it is all finished up. Got the relays, double-sided tape to the batteries here, bunch of heat shrink connections, just kind of building the circuit I need. A new charge connector. This goes to the on-off switch, and then there's a light ground for the little indicator light in the switch. The controller's back in its place, all the existing connectors are there. This is the connector that used to go to the switch, not being used anymore. Here's our fuse connector. So basically these relays just automatically switch between being 2 batteries in series and 2 batteries in parallel. And then they're driven by the switch that used to drive the motor control enable. If you want to get the cover back on it, try it out.
Holy crap!
Oh my gosh, it's like a giant child. It's like a giant child.